And I kind of want to I want to segue this now into kind of the more specifics of like exactly your, I call it the Kendall empire because I feel like you do so many things. You've got like these tentacles like everywhere. Um, I want to ask you, how did you come across these different opportunities? So, like, specifically, how did you come into the commentator role with Flow Grappling? How did that pop up and appear? Was it something you chased or did they approach you?
Yeah, I mentioned briefly on this earlier, like under promising and over delivering and constantly asking for opportunities. So that means I've done a lot of stuff for free, first of all, like especially if you're, ooh, I almost knocked my computer over, especially if you're trying to enter in a field that you don't have a lot of credentials in yet, like that's something that I would recommend. So for specifically for commentary, I remember talking to Howell Teague, and I think it was either Fight to Win or maybe it was Nogi Pan. I think maybe the first one was Pan Am's. I was supposed to compete, and then I was flying out there anyway, and I was injured like right before, and I already had my flights in my hotel, and so I reached out to him, and it's something that I had wanted to do before, and I mentioned it to them, and they didn't really like. They were like, "Oh yeah, maybe someday," but like they have so many people all the time that want to do commentary, like athletes asking them all the time. So I just told him I was like, "Hey, I'm gonna be." It was in Florida. I was like, "Hey, I'm gonna be in Florida, but I can't compete because I'm hurt, and I was wondering if you guys need any help." And he was like, yeah, like, he's known me as an athlete, but he was like, yeah, sure. Like, if you want to do, commentary, like, yeah, I can have you fill in on this day or whatever." And that's kind of how things started. I showed up and I tried to do the best that I could. I studied the athletes beforehand. I feel really comfortable speaking on the microphone. Feel really comfortable talking about jujitsu. And, to back up a step further, I worked really hard as an instructor for a lot of years. Like, this is something where you talk about compounding effects. Like, there's no way that I would go in and be good at commentating if I didn't work my ass off as a teacher for a lot of years and know how to talk about jujitsu, right? So then I'm doing commentary for free. I do a couple other events like that, but it comes from like me bugging the shit out of them all the time. Like, hey, I'm going to be at this event. Hey, do you want me to fly here? Hey, do you want me to, what do you want me to do? Making myself as available and as helpful as I possibly could be, and as valuable as I possibly could be, and showing up and treating it with 100% as much as I could, like professionalism and care as I could every single time. And then I was invited to a big show. But it was like a lot of events over and over and over. It's I think I can't remember when this was in the timeline of events. I might have done a Who's Number One already before this, but the first time I did the Gi Pan Ams. I think it was the Gi Pan Ams. I hadn't done the Gi Worlds yet. I could be wrong, but I'm almost positive it was the Gi Pan Ams. I am sitting with Howell, and in between matches, he's like, "Hey, I got a call or a text from Bushesha." And Bushesh is like, "Hey, who's this girl commentating? Like this?" Oh, and he realized who it was, and he because I've won some things, but like I'm not homies with Bushesh, And he's like, "Oh, cool, okay." He's like, "You got to have her on again. Like she's great." He gave me all these really nice compliments, and that was really sweet to go out of his way to do that. And then kind of from then on, and there was a lot of other good feedback. I just kept getting asked back. So I think showing like getting into that by like to make it super tangible, asking for opportunities over and over until like, and if I, even when I was told no or not this time, making myself available. And that included like my own investment of time and energy and money, like flying and hotels and all that. And then three, like making sure I did a really good fucking job, like to the best of my ability. Like, how can I show up prepared and be professional and be available? And hey, do you need me to come in an extra day early and do this? And so that is, how the commentary started. And then even into Who's Number One, like if I had other commitments, and like even if I had other commitments that would pay me more, like I think that's important to say. Like even if I had to do that instead of a seminar or different things, I would prioritize that because I wanted that to become an opportunity for me in my career. I wanted to practice with public speaking. I wanted Flow to be able to count on me as a consistent person on their team because they have tons of people that want to do this. And that was a choice that I made that, there's pros and cons to everything. Maybe it took away from other opportunities that I missed because I did this, but I think that it's been a really beautiful addition to my career, and I've learned so much about the industry being able to do that. So that was a big jump for me, or a big, segue off into a new part of my career that I'm still super excited to work on.